Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you're ready for a double dose of adventure because today we're doubling the fun by traveling between two destinations. Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to another Double N destination. Yes, that is me, Double N, aka Jordan, spelt with two N's of course, aka Extraordinary, aka you get the picture. Anyway, today we're here at the one, the only, the original Disneyland Park, the happiest place on earth, to take a closer look at it and compare it to another Disney park way across the globe, Tokyo Disneyland. So we've got a lot of ground to cover today. We've got a lot of traveling to do. I highly recommend traveling light, just bringing on your carry-on luggage because I see you have a lot of stuff over there and I can't carry all that stuff. So we got to get going, but before we do, you got a little something right there. No, this side. Let me get it. You can't travel with that on your face. Here, I'll get it for you, okay? Hold still. There we go. There we go. And there you go. Good as new. What? Is there something behind me? Whoa! Wow, that's real Disney magic. That was a quick trip. Disneyland Park, the one and only original, opened to guests on July 17th, 1955, and it took just 1 year to build. It forever set the seemingly untouchable bar as far as theme park experiences go. Immersive theming, attention to detail, and commitment to cleanliness definitely raised Disneyland into a league of its own. And there's an undeniable charm radiating out of every little inch of this park. And it's no surprise since Disneyland is the only Disney park that Walt Disney himself was able to see his vision all the way through, from dream to reality. And what a marvel of a realization it is. Built in 1980, Tokyo Disneyland set out on the same precedent as the original, to be a unique and charming experience for guests, but on a much bigger scale. Literally. Undeniably, a lot of the charm of the original comes from the intimacy and the closeness of the environment. But that same intimate closeness can start to feel a little cramped, especially when this crowds start rolling in. Ooh. So to avoid the claustrophobia, Tokyo Disneyland took a page right out of the Walt Disney World playbook to provide its guests with that same original Disneyland experience, but on a much grander scale. This meant everything had to be bigger. Bigger buildings, bigger walkways, and of course, a bigger, beautiful castle. And if you've ever been to Walt Disney World, then this castle right here should immediately look familiar to you, because aside from the paint scheme, it's practically an identical replica of Cinderella's castle in the Magic Kingdom. Now, the purpose of this whole bigger is better blueprint wasn't just to wow guests, although that was a big part of it. The bigger picture was that Tokyo Disneyland needed to handle the big, massive crowds expected to descend upon it. And boy, did those big crowds come. In 2001, due to its high attendance, Tokyo Disneyland became the highest profiting theme park in the entire world. Now, with that being said, although the whole bigger is better blueprint is better for handling these bigger crowds and better at giving you a little bit more room to breathe in those crowds, I have always and will always love the closeness of that tucked-in feeling of the original more than I love anything else. Because, of course, that's what makes it special. Now, part of the ginormous genius of Disneyland are the lands that make it up, with each land instantly and completely transporting you into a fully unique environment of its own. Disneyland originally opened with 5 main lands: Main Street USA, Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, and Tomorrowland, and have since expanded to 8 lands, adding on New Orleans Square, Critter Country, and Toontown, racking up Disneyland's land total to 8, and very soon they'll be adding on a 9th land, Star Wars Land. Tokyo Disneyland currently has 7 lands and shares 5 of the same with Disneyland. they have Adventureland, the land of the fun and excitement of exploration. Fantasyland, a land where wishes are granted and dreams come true. Tomorrowland, land of the great promises of the future. Toontown, home to Mickey and friends and all the rest of the Toons. Critter Country, land of all things cute and cuddly, as well as two lands completely unique to Tokyo Disneyland, both being essentially the same concepts as the original lands back at the original Disneyland Park, but with different names and slightly different experiences. Instead of Frontierland, they have Western Land. Wildest land in the wilderness. And instead of Main Street USA, they have World Bazaar. And if something here appears a little bizarre to you, that's because it is. Their Main Street is housed by a giant canopy over it. How awesome is that? This marvelous beauty helps shield all the visitors to Tokyo Disneyland from the hot and humid, wet and sticky, wild weather of Tokyo. So Tokyo Disneyland didn't just settle for using Walt Disney World's blueprint. Turns out they also decided to use their weather too. Now that is commitment. Bravo, Disney, bravo. And bravo on help keeping us all dry. This is so awesome. Both parks offer a very similar roster of the same rides and attractions. Of course, there's all the classic Disneyland staples that seem to be replicated across all Disney parks in slightly different iterations, like Peter Pan, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Small World, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise, Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain. I think you get the picture. Then there's the rides that share the same name but offer completely unique experiences at either park. There are also a few attractions unique to Disneyland that Tokyo doesn't have, and likewise, Tokyo Disneyland has some super neat stuff that Disneyland doesn't have. And we will explore all those fun little destinations way more in depth in a future adventure. To double up the Disney fun, both Disneyland and Tokyo Disneyland grew the Disney Parks family by introducing neighbors. At Disneyland, just a short walk right across the Esplanade will bring you to California Adventure. And at Tokyo Disneyland, a 20-minute walk or a 5-minute monorail ride will bring you from Tokyo Disneyland to Tokyo Disney Sea. California Adventure has come a long way from its struggling start, thanks to a $1 billion overhaul that helped completely transform it into a very special and charming park of its own. California Adventure has a ton of unique lands, attractions, and offerings to experience, and hundreds of guests queue up every morning hoping to be the first ones in the park to experience it all. But it wasn't always that way. When the park opened to guests in 2001, it was a much different California Adventure back then. It wasn't much of an adventure at all. Due to constant budget cuts that significantly scaled back plans from the amazing park it was supposed to be to the lackluster park it opened as, the original California Adventure lacked any real Disney touch. And because of that, when the gates first opened to welcome guests, nobody showed. Disney Sea, on the other hand, also opened in 2001, but was built with no inhibitions. Disney Sea was built on a budget of roughly $4 billion big ones, making it the most expensive theme park in history. And it definitely shows. Many visitors would argue that it's the best Disney theme park built since the original itself. It truly provides a unique, one-of-a-kind, enthralling experience that you just can't get anywhere else in the world. Attention to detail is always top-notch at Disney destinations, and Tokyo Disney Sea is no exception. As great as California Adventure has become, when it comes to the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, if you're pressed for time and only have enough to visit one of the parks, it's a no doubt about it no-brainer that it has to be the one and only original Disneyland. Over across the globe, however, it's not Tokyo Disneyland, but its next-door neighbor that takes the cake. If you're in Tokyo, Japan, and you only have time to visit one of the Disney parks here, it's gotta be Tokyo Disney Sea. Now, when looking at any Disney destination, one can't forget about the crowds. The crowds are everywhere! Disneyland was truly the first theme park of its kind, and for that reason has remained a tourist destination for all. People's love for Disney, amusement, and all things in between have them flocking to the original Magic Kingdom in droves every single day of the year. And due to its primetime real estate location in Anaheim, being close proximity to Orange County and the Los Angeles area, it makes Disneyland a go-to spot for locals. Locals love to come to Disneyland to get their Disney fill and really to just hang out. Locals love to hang out at Disneyland, and with this being the happiest place on earth, who could blame them? Surprisingly enough, the Tokyo Disney Resort seems to be comprised of exactly the same demographic. Sure, you've got your tourists here and there who are visiting Tokyo, Japan, who would love to see what the Disney parks here have to offer, but in general, the mass majority of visitors here are indeed locals as well. Locals dominate the parks here in Tokyo, just like they do at Disneyland in Anaheim. At the original Disneyland Park back in Anaheim, all the locals show true and complete love for it. And the same thing applies here at Tokyo Disneyland. Everyone here has a huge love for Disney, and their enthusiasm at the parks is extremely awesome. Everyone seems to just be having the time of their lives here. And that could be said about everybody visiting both parks. Simply put, I think when anyone visits any Disney theme park out there, they expect a certain level of customer care, concern, and of course, magic. Not just from the park itself, but from the employees who work there, the cast members. And if you've ever been to any Disney theme park, I think we can all agree that Disney is the crown jewel in customer service. Ever since Disneyland first opened, CMs have been going above and beyond to ensure the magical experiences of every single guest who walks through the gates, and making sure the magic of being at Disneyland is even more magical than it already is. At least that's always been my experience ever since I could remember, ever since I first started visiting Disneyland, ever since I was just a teeny tiny little toddler. And during my short time here visiting in Japan, I've noticed that same high level of genuine customer service translated incredibly here at the Tokyo parks. The cast members here are so attentive, so helpful, and so cheerful. The customer service is truly impeccable, and you notice it immediately as soon as you step foot onto the grounds. And that's what I truly love about all Disney parks. As soon as you step foot onto the grounds, it's like you've taken a step out of the outside world of reality and taken a step into a magical dreamland where all your wishes really do come true. And I'd like to thank all of you for making my wish come true by joining me on this journey, exploring two of the best destinations that Disney has to offer. What do you guys think of these Disney parks? Do you love them as much as me? Have you been? Would you like to go? Sound off in the comments below. Now, as fun as this has been sharing this wonderful experience with all of you, this is about all the time we have for this destination today. I've traveled a long but enjoyable journey just to get here, and it's time to get even more joy out of it by enjoying the destination. So guys, if you liked it, please give the video a like, and if you want to double the love, then please give the video a share to all your Disney loving friends. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more fun adventures. So until the next destination, always remember, it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. So make sure to enjoy it. So until the next one, I'll see you all then. Bye.